Welcome to the If Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Julia Garcia Devaney. I'm a life and mindset coach for female founders, and my mission is to help thousands of ambitious, busy women become the number one asset in their life and business. Tune in as I share with you the behind the scenes of my own ambitious journey and help you bring the Zen back into your hustle so you can create the impact you desire and truly love your own ambitious journey as well. Welcome, and let's get into the episode. Hey, my ambitious babes. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Happy to be here with you today. I don't have too much of an update for you guys today. I am trucking along with my If Wellness Planner. It is really coming along. I feel like I'm almost done with my first round of edits. And I'm currently just trying to get the designer on board for a start date because I think I'm going to have to work jointly with her in regards to like the content and like the graphic design and stuff, and just kind of fitting everything and organizing everything as it should. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited for the progress. I have a few things on my heart in the moment in terms of like what I've been wanting to talk to you guys about. Like there's this one component about, they're totally different. Like one of them's about essentially just like the difference between like working hard and struggling, which I have been looking at quite a lot recently, and just kind of checking myself in regards to that struggle identity. And since I'm creating something that is pretty hard and challenging, and just checking myself with that struggle identity that I used to have and making sure that it's not playing out again. And then there's this little other component of essentially being in this personal development loop. And to be honest, I don't know which one I want to talk to you about today. But since I feel like I've been talking about all the hard things lately, I think that it'll be a good time to actually talk about being in that personal development loop that we sometimes find ourselves in. So if you guys want to hear about struggle versus hard work, definitely DM me, let me know. And that could be the next episode. Today, I think I want to just focus on the fact that sometimes when we discover personal development, it can have a bit of a chokehold on us, and we can kind of get addicted to the progress, and we can be kind of, like just almost hyper aware of issues, I guess. And that's what I've seen in my experience, my own personal experience and experience with clients and stuff. And what I like to remember and come back to is just this notion of fun and playfulness. It is a strong value of mine, not just my personal life, but also in my business, because I do run a personal development business. And I love to really challenge the notion that it has to be so serious and it has to be so daunting and, always improving and things like that. And so I like to really focus on it being, first of all, not so serious. And secondly, it can also be fun. It can be fun to improve. It can be fun to make progress and things like that. And then also there can just be room for actual fun. There's moments and seasons in my life where I'm really like working hard towards something, or I'm really trying to create a shift in something, have a breakthrough, so on and so forth. And I feel it. It feels good to be super plugged into, the audiobooks, the podcasts, and reading and studying and, all the things. And there's some times where I'm just like, okay, I have to put on, an old Drake album or some salsa music, and just blast it in my car and go nuts, and just have fun. And it feels so good. And it is actually part of my, not just like my values in my business and my personal life, but it's also something that I emphasize in my 10 goal achievement method where, we focus on mind, body, and self. And most likely that self component is really just whatever fills your soul. And for me, sometimes that's an old Drake album or, some salsa music and just letting loose, and it's fun for me, right? Karaoke is fun. There's so many fun components that really fill my soul. And it has literally worked into my method for that reason because I could be someone that also gets obsessed again in the moment and wants to really improve on the next thing and the next thing and accomplish things and so on and so forth. So I can really be plugged into that time. And then, it's very important to just notice if you are giving time to also feed your soul, feed yourself, feed those little internal kind of joys that you have that just make you happy, right? And like, there's really no other way to describe it for me other than like feeding your actual soul. And again, for me, maybe it's, some music, but it could also be just hanging out with friends or doing something creative, an outlet that has nothing to do with making money or, achieving anything. It could be, volunteering, which I often do, and something that really, really feeds my soul, and, is fun and creative or whatnot. So that is the whole element of the self in the trifecta of my wellness kind of element in my Zen AF goal achievement method. And so this is something that, maybe it's not every single day that I tap into this, but definitely at least once a week, every other week, things like that. You guys have heard me talk about paddle quite a bit. I haven't played in a little while because, first of all, it's getting so hot here in Miami. And second of all, a girl could not breathe. And, just walking in itself is a little bit of a challenge, but there's so many things that I do to that like genuinely feeds my soul. So definitely finding something that like that for yourself in the midst of constant improvement is going to be not just ideal, but also absolutely necessary. Again, they're all required elements, right? They all need to be looked at. And this allows you not to burn out and making sure that every element is getting what it needs, it's being filled with what it needs, right? It's a very important component to, your human life. And that's just to have fun, to have that wonderment, to have that fulfilling nature of something that is creative or giving, like generous or something like that. I feel like it's my responsibility to really highlight this element and this aspect of personal development because, again, I see so often like, and even in my coaching calls, sometimes I'm like, nothing has to even be wrong, right? We can like sometimes the best time to come to coaching is when things are going good. And that's how that we can go to great. That's how we can celebrate and think about how we're going to celebrate and think about, what comes up when it's time to have fun, what comes up when it's time to celebrate, because even that might be something to look at. And the reason might be why those things don't come as naturally to you, or you forget about them, or you don't value them enough to prioritize them, to make time for them, so on and so forth. It's an amazing time to look at those things and to look at, how you're spending your time and energy, and are you making time for fun? Because fun is really the energy and the frequency of everything that you really want, right? So we don't want to forget about that on our journey. We don't want to miss out on that on our journey because it's what's going to bring whatever it is that we want much to us much faster, much sooner, and much easier, right? Imagine if we were just having fun on the way. So like I always try to look at that, especially when things are feeling a little serious, a little rough, and so on and so forth. I try to see like, how can I inject more fun into either the things that I have to do or just into my life, and just enjoy that a little bit more, whether it's, having fun with my kids or just doing something for myself by myself. Or if for me, it's always like, girl time and talking shit. Like I love just talking shit with certain friends of mine. Like it's so fun, and to just have kind of like just lose those inhibitions and not be afraid of being judged or whatever. These people already know me. They know I have a good heart. So just talking shit about certain things or whatever is like so much fun. It's like so fulfilling for me, eating some good sushi, even though I can't really eat that sushi right now. Just eating good food and having fun drinks, even though again, I'm not drinking right now. I still have a lot of fun just hanging out with the girls and things like that. So for me, it's definitely something like that. I love to karaoke. I love to, play sports and like have different hobbies and yeah, just shoot the shit. Like nothing too serious, nothing too demanding. And obviously having people that around you that are able to bring that out in you is super important. So I'm just trying to give you guys ideas and how to tap into this in case you guys are like, ugh, I don't have any hobbies. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what is fun? What is fun? It's just like interesting if like that is you. I would love to actually hear from you and see kind of where you struggle in that sense and like, and why you feel like it's difficult for you to tap into that. And I feel like music is obviously a very universal thing and it's easy to tap into. But if you're a person that's like, I don't like music, I don't like concerts, I don't like to dance, I don't like to sing, then like, yeah, I don't, I don't know what to tell you. So again, I'm just trying to give you guys examples of how to tap into that. Maybe there's drawing, maybe there's like a creative outlet you can try out of the blue. I know that next time my mother-in-law comes into town, for sure, I'm going to book some space into, or like a class in some kind of pottery class and just try that for the first time. I've never tried that. But my sister got my daughters a little like janky one, little toy one for home. And like, first of all, it's a huge mess, so I don't like using it, but it seems like it would be a fun thing to do outside of the home with people that care, right? Like that sip and paint stuff, like all of that stuff is just so much fun. And yeah, there's just so many different possibilities, just like asking yourself and asking your inner child almost like, what would be fun for you? What would be, available if you just kind of let loose a little bit, you never know. So we have to inject that energy. We have to inject that fun into our lives or else like, honestly, what is the point? Right. And again, it doesn't have to be anything extensive or time consuming. Again, like sometimes I just blast some music when I'm usually, listening to a podcast or an audiobook or something like that. It feels so great to just blast the music and sing my little heart out on the way to pick up my kids from school or whatnot, right? So, yeah, just thinking about those things and being able to tap into some things that you used to like maybe as a kid, maybe in middle school. Like what would your, 8-year-old self love to do at this moment? Like how would she or he like to play? What was fun for them? Maybe it was hanging out with friends. And if it's like you realize like, oh, I don't really have those kinds of people, like there's so many different ways to do meetups and get into groups where, people are like-minded and Bumble friends and all that stuff. Like there's just so many possibilities, right? To find that outlet, right? And you never know, like there's like so many people that still tell me like, oh, like I don't really know what my purpose is. And like I feel like it's simply just because they don't play enough, they don't experiment enough, they're not curious enough, right? And they kind of stay in that autopilot of their life and just do whatever they need to do to kind of survive. And truly, I feel like that's when you find your purpose, when you are able to explore and try and leave and move on and try something else and just keep going, right? So I don't feel like a purpose is just something that happens to you. I feel like it happens when you are out there dancing with life and playing in it and ready to explore and be open to whatever it is, right? And again, like I said, like that happens, but this doesn't need to be anything that you monetize by any means, or it doesn't need to be anything serious. It could just be, something that brings you absolute joy. So for me, in the coming weeks, I'm actually going to have like a whole week to myself. And I'm already thinking like, wow, like how can I inject more fun into that time being when I'm not going to be, responsible for like all the duties of my life, like, cooking and cleaning after everybody. And, maybe I can even, what's funny enough is like, I think like, oh my God, I get more time to spend on my business, which is, it's fun for me. And it's nice to have that to do something that you love for sure. But I'm also going to challenge myself to think of like the ways I can spend time with my friends and on different days and just do, massages and pool days and just like act like I'm on vacation almost, right? Like, how can I do that? And obviously, I'm going to leave some room to just kind of explore and be by myself. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just be by myself. I'm such an introvert, and I could definitely find ways to, feed my soul in my home, and also just, taking time and just seeing what I can do when like all of a sudden like I'm without kids and a hubby to, tend to. So we'll see what happens. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, something I used to do too was I used to go to creative writing classes and, open mic nights and just listen to what people like, the creativity people had to offer. And I mean, like my mind was blown and just in terms of how many amazing creative people there are out in the world, that are not famous or what have you. And, just like being around that creativity is just so electrifying and enticing. And it just feels so nice. And again, the other thing was like volunteering and just sharing your abundance with others, and how can you do that? And just like maybe there's people that you've been wanting to connect to, make friendships with that you haven't been able to or haven't been, I guess, bold enough to do. So like just looking at that, again, just giving you guys ideas of how to really inject that fun into your life and remembering that it's not all about the improvement and achieving. Like that stuff is endless. Let me tell you, it is endless. It is your whole life. Because we are evolving human beings, right? So we cannot forget about the fun aspect, and maybe that's what I'll title this episode. The fun aspect is very, very important to tap into because not only does it allow you to create more, but it also makes you and helps you enjoy that journey that much better. So let me know if you guys loved this episode. Let me know if it was a good reminder for you. And I'd love to hear from you. And you could do that at Julia Garcia Devaney anywhere on the socials. All right, love you and talk to you next week. Thanks for listening, Ambitious Babe. If you loved this episode, take a screenshot and share your favorite takeaways with me at Julia Garcia Devaney, and be sure to leave us a review as that would mean so much. And if you're ready to put the Zen back into your hustle and love your ambitious journey, be sure to download the Get Zen AF app, where you'll learn to prioritize yourself and truly become the number one asset in your life and business. It's available in the App Store and Google Play. Check out the links in the show notes, and I'll see you inside.